This episode of iFanboy is brought to you by GoDaddy.com, Netflix.com, and drunk driving over the limit under arrest from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. Hey, welcome to iFanboy. My name is Conor. I'm with
Ron. And I'm Josh.
And we're back in San Diego. We had so much show we shot. We had part one was last week, and this is part two of San Diego Comic-Con show.
Part two. We couldn't cram all the creators and all the great writers and artists and folks in the comic book industry that we talked to into one episode. So we got a second episode here with more from the San Diego Comic-Con, and it was just overwhelming. And I can't believe how much there is.
I thought your voice was good, and that's why you were going to talk a lot.
Well, so did I, and then it crapped out.
San Diego, Jake.
San Diego. That's what happens.
Just San Diego.
All right, I'm here with Tim Sale, the talented Tim Sale. How you doing?
The pie-eating Tim Sale. I'm doing just fine.
We're here at Darwin Cook and Dave Bullock and Cameron Stewart's booth, and I had to grab our opportunity to talk to you. So you're back at Marvel. Captain America White Zero came out recently. How's the reaction been to that?
I think people are still kind of getting used to the idea that it's out there and stuff. But
right. So how is it to be working?
I love it.
And it was really good. How is it to be working on the iconic Captain America as your first project back in Marvel?
Well, that's great, but the important thing for me is working with Jeff.
Okay.
It's been too long, and we really just kind of fell right back into it, just like old days. It's been great.
Yeah.
He's a good friend, and I think a great writer. And
well, you guys, I mean, obviously, your guys' collaboration has become legendary in the industry between the stuff you did to Batman and the color book. It is legendary, yeah, totally.
Okay.
We were recommending the books. But so when you guys approach a book like that, how involved are each other in plotting it and story? I mean, is it all Jeff just hands you the script, you do it, or I get the feeling it's very collaborative?
Well, the plotting, not so much.
Okay.
But we definitely talk a lot about the direction we want to take. What do we want to do? What don't we want to do? We knew we wanted World War II. We knew we wanted to begin kind of essentially with, or the framing sequence to be Avengers number 4, where the Avengers find Cap frozen from the ice and that kind of thing. But the bulk of it is tanks and Nazis and all that kind of stuff.
It's the fun stuff, right?
Yeah.
So coming back to doing a color book, I was a big fan of the Spider-Man and Hulk and stuff like that. It seems as if your style has kind of evolved a little since those years. Has that been noticeable on your part, or is that something just you kind of subconsciously?
Well, a couple of things. One is, I hope I continue to get better and grow as an artist, so that's one thing. But I also try to mix up my style, my technique, the materials I use, things like that, with every new project that I take on.
Right. Oh, cool.
So
they're each
with this
individual.
one I'm using, yes. And it needs to, it's not just arbitrary, it needs to fit what the story is. Right. How can I utilize best what I do in order to tell the story that we want to tell.
Right.
And for this, I'm using a lot of graphite pencil, a soft graphite pencil, and really digging in. And it was kind of inspired by, Jack Kirby did maybe half a dozen, or I've only seen half a dozen, drawings, like pencil drawings to chalk drawings on envelopes.
Wow.
Right? From the foxhole, send it back to Roz Kirby, his wife.
Yeah.
And he was in the Battle of the Bulge, man. I mean, he was a serious soldier. And so I kind of wanted to emulate that a little bit.
That's really cool. That's a great detail that I don't think a lot of artists would really think about. So that's awesome. So your work with TV show Heroes has been seen by millions, and it's kind of from what we've seen, it's kind of thrust you as kind of an ambassador for comics in terms of art and stuff like that. How has that been? The reaction to this people seeing your work on such a mass scale. I mean, like my parents watch that show and they say, "Who's that artist?" And
Well, it's funny when it first began. Well, you're absolutely right. Yes, it has increased my exposure a great deal. But I wasn't really sure that anybody would, they'd notice the art, but that anybody would really wonder who the artist was or anything like that. I mean, it is, I work for the prop department, right? It's a prop, like a couch, right? And so I wasn't really sure, I never wonder who made that couch.
Right.
I wasn't really sure about that, except for the people who already knew and were familiar with my work.
Right.
And all of them have said they could recognize it right away, which is very flattering and nice. No, it's been a lot of fun. It's something I never aspired to do, fell into, just feel really, really lucky to do it.
I mean, the artwork has pretty much become a big part of the visual storytelling of that show. I mean,
it drives the plot in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it does.
I can't think of another show that ever did that.
Yeah. So when they killed off the artist, were you bummed? Or?
Well, I did turn to Jeff and say... And he said, "Don't worry, you have a job."
Yeah, I noticed that when they said that there's a whole bunch of art that we didn't know about. I was glad to see that. So.
Well, I know I've done a lot of work for the third season already.
I was going to ask you, so you're working on the next season?
So, yeah.
So any hints? Any tell us what's going on in the story, or?
No, and I don't. Partly because I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I like to. I worked really pretty intensely on the pilot.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I didn't want to know what was going on.
Oh, cool. So you're watching as a fan.
I saw the pilot. I'm like, yeah, I've seen this.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, I watched it as a fan.
I'm here with CULLEN BUNN and Brian Hurtt, creators of The Damned from Oni. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Doing great, yeah.
I've been meaning to pick up this book for a long time. I picked it up yesterday and I hurriedly went through it this morning. I really like this book. How would you sell it to folks?
I'm not so surprised.
Yeah.
No, I'm always surprised when anything is good. How would you sell it to folks who don't know what it is?
Well, it's sort of a noir crime story, like the Maltese Falcon or the Big Sleep, only with demons thrown into the mix.
Demon noir.
Yeah, demon noir. Monsters with Tommy guns.
Was it, had you always wanted to do like a gangster story like that, but you also,
Yes.
it's like in order to sell it, did you have to put a twist in, or was that all of these things come together?
It was a lot. Yeah, it was a lot of things. For me, I'd done a lot of crime books, and I kind of wanted to do a crime book, but I also wanted to push it in a little more of a fantasy direction or a horror direction, and that's what we did. I like drawing monsters in suits too, so it all worked out.
Well, that was actually one of the things I liked about it. The demons were actually really grounded.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys have like rules for them? Like they're this kind of demon and not another?
We do have some unspoken rules for the demons, but I think when we put the book together, we really made a conscious decision. We didn't want these demons to be shooting fireballs out of their eyes and things. We wanted it to be very grounded. I mean, there's some definite big supernatural elements in it, but for the most part, the demons are a crime family.
It's a crime. Yeah, it's a crime story where the criminals happen to be monsters, and it's a crime story more than it is a monster story. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And now this is volume 1, and you've got a new series going now, Prodigal Sons. Yep. How long does this go for?
Go ahead.
Well, Prodigal Sons is a 3-issue miniseries. And then after that, we've got another 3-issue series called Daughter's Dance that'll be coming out.
Which is kind of a sister miniseries of this, so they'll be collected together. So.
Now, is it the same characters, or is there a big world?
It's more there's more of the world building going on in this one. We take some of the same characters, but we also introduce some new major characters as well. So.
But the main story always will revolve around the characters that you've seen in the first story arc, mainly Eddie being the central figure in the story. We've kind of talked about it. We kind of have the story planned out for maybe 50 issues or so. I mean, we have a definite ending to the whole story in mind.
Cool.
So.
This is the book that you guys are working on now for the foreseeable future? Or do you want to get out of demon crime for a little while and come back in?
We will always be coming back to the Damned, but we do have other projects in mind. We have something else we will be working on in the next year as well.
And you can't talk about it.
I
I'm in San Diego, and everybody can't talk about stuff. So
We would love to be able to talk about it with you, but we can't yet.
So I'm here with writer Joe Kelly here at the Image booth. How you doing, Joe?
Good, thanks.
Enjoying the con?
Yeah, actually, I've only been here for an hour, so
you're lucky.
I'm super high energy. I'm doing all right.
So you've got a bunch of creator-owned stuff coming out of Image. Recently, I Kill Giants came out and it's sold out. And then you've got Four Eyes. You've got a preview coming up. So are you? A lot of your work, you've worked previously for Marvel and DC and those folks. I see a lot of creator-owned stuff coming out of you. Is that something that you're happy with at point in your career?
Absolutely, yeah. All the Man of Action guys are doing books through Image this year. I just happen to be sort of in the first wave of that, and we're really happy to be doing that stuff. I mean, I love working for the major companies. I love working on the big superheroes, but these are stories that I wanted to tell for a long time. Something like Giants, for years have wanted to tell that story.
So now with I Kill Giants, I really enjoyed it a lot. Are you targeting a younger audience with that book, or is it?
No, Giants. The subject matter actually gets pretty dark as it goes along. It's sort of I guess it's more of a story that. I don't know, if it was a movie, it'd be like PG-13 in some ways when the subject matter. But I do have a children's book coming out in November, so I'm just looking for all different types of audiences, all different types of stories.
Very cool. So the one thing that struck me with Four Eyes and then also with I Kill Giants is that you've got artists with a very distinctive style.
Right.
When you look for an artist to work with, are you trying to match a style with the story and the tone? Or?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, Giants took a really long time because I had the script years ago, but I needed to find the right guy to draw it. Yeah. And I've been really lucky. Comics has let me travel around the world, so I meet these guys in Spain, Argentina, and nobody's working with them yet. So I get to, get them while they're ripe. That's and awesome. These guys are so good, I probably won't get to work with them on the next project. As soon as people see them, they're going to blow up. They're really good.
So I Kill Giants is kind of your baby, is kind of the book that you've been hoping for longer?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Cared about it for a long time.
So have you been happy with the response to it? Like I said, it's sold out. I mean, it looks to get a lot of critical acclaim.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like people are getting it, which is nice. It's... you worry so much because we're so superhero driven that when you come in with something that's coming of age story and this quirky girl, you wonder what people are going to say, and so far the reaction's been great. It's been exactly what I was looking for.
Awesome. So speaking of superheroes, you're working on some Spider-Man stuff?
Yep, got a couple of 2-issue story coming up with Chris Bichello, and also in the Brand New Day special, working with Chris, and that's great. He's doing a fantastic job.
So what has it been like to be in that Brand New Day kind of machine that they've got rolling?
So it's been great so far. The guys are all really cool. Really open with their ideas and happy to talk about what they're doing, and they've been a lot of fun. So I'm like the nervous new kid coming in, I want to be funny, I want to make sure my Spider-Man is cool. So. Yeah.
Get reliable, secure web hosting from GoDaddy.com, which includes 99.9 uptime, 24/7 support, and free access to Hosting Connection, the place to install over 30 free applications sure to help you get the most from your hosting plan and website. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names as low as $1.99, plus world-class hosting and fast and easy website builders and much more. Keep your personal information away from spammers, hackers, and your crazy ex-roommate. Private domain registration from GoDaddy helps you protect your privacy by keeping your address, phone number, and more out of the public database. GoDaddy.com makes it easy to customize your own virtual dedicated server. Choose one of 3 popular plans or select your own Linux or Windows server with all the plan options you need. Your website visitors, prospects, and customers are wary of websites and online businesses that aren't what they claim to be and worry that their personal and financial information might fall into the wrong hands. Turn your visitors' concerns into a competitive advantage with the ironclad protection of a GoDaddy.com secure certificate. Looking to drive viewers to your video content? Then get a .tv domain name and stand out from the crowd. .tv domains are perfect for podcasters, video bloggers, anyone with something to say. And they're available now at GoDaddy.com. Tell your story to the world with .me, the top-level domain that's all about you. Create a unique, personalized space on the internet with .me. And don't forget, coupon code iFanboy gets you 10% off all of your purchases at GoDaddy.com. Thanks to Netflix for sponsoring this episode of iFanboy. With Netflix, you can rent over 90,000 titles online, including lots of Blu-ray titles with free shipping both ways to your home. They now have over 40 shipping centers, so almost all deliveries happen in just one business day. The Netflix plans start as low as $4.99. As a new member, you can get a no-risk 2-week free trial membership. Just check out www.netflix.com/iFanboy, and remember to type in that www when using this code.
I'm here with writer Peter Tomasi. Peter, how are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Now, you're writing Nightwing, who has taken a bit of a hit in the last few years. He was even considered to be killed off for a while, but you've seen to bring him back. You're one amongst our fans. Nightwing's become a favorite book again once you started writing it. What was it about Nightwing that you found again? What was it about the character that you brought back?
It was one of those things where I just, you look at a character who's got such great history and really should be tied in more into the fabric of the DCU, and to me it just screamed that was what my main job was to do, was to bring that character, into the limelight, let him be the hero of his own book a little bit more, not show him get taken out as easily as he usually does, and just kind of really just make it a point that the fans realize that Nightwing is not off in some corner somewhere of the DCU. He's right dead center of it, and that's really that was the big approach that I wanted to really work on, and hopefully you know, everybody's digging it and, you know, liking where we're going with it.
What was the reason to bring him back to New York?
He was actually still. They started, I think, year one with Bruce Jones. They have him in New York. And there was talk of moving him away.
You really brought him into New York. You put him in the cloisters.
But I mean, being a New Yorker, born and bred, I wanted to also put somebody in a place that I knew really intimately well. And I wanted the city, just like what James Robinson did in Starman, where Opal City was almost a character in of itself. I wanted just to have New York really just, you know, people to feel it and see it and really not just think it was, you know, generic city somewhere. So it was really important to me to make sure that as a New Yorker, I got a little bit more of the city's feel into the book.
One thing I've noticed about the book is you've brought a very brother relationship to Robin and Nightwing. I mean, brother they are, but you don't see that a lot lately. And you really brought in sort of, they had like a buddy dynamic, and it was. Right. Is that something you're looking for? Yeah, that was one of my keys. I mean, I really think, to me, I know that some people are on the fence about that, where they say, you know what, don't bring in too much of the Bat family into it. Honestly, people, he's part of the Bat family, and you know, and the word family is key. And honestly, these people have grown up together, gone through incredible hardships with each other, and some major trauma. So it was really key for me to just, you know, hit it on the head. This is a family. You are going to see the Bat family in it, and Robin is really a brother, and you're going to see that relationship. You're also writing Green Lantern Corps.
Yes.
That stars Kyle and Guy, two Green Lanterns sort of shunted to the side after Hal was brought back.
Right.
What was your pitch for that book?
That was pretty easy. I love them, and these are like main GLs that have really distinct personalities and are just able to shine in their own right, even more than Hal in some ways. So I thought it was a gimme to just say, look, you know, move the light right on these two guys and let them do their thing. And you know, they're easy characters to write. Guy is a blast, as I'm sure a lot of writers have found over the years. And Kyle, you know, with all the trials and tribulations he's come through, I wanted to just show him now too that he's, you know, a guy in charge, and he's not, you know, he's got some demons, or he's got, you know, some darkness still building in him a little bit, but you know, he's a guy who's moving on and taking charge, and you know, I'm having fun with that aspect of him.
Well, for a lot of people, you're a new writer in the scene, but you've actually been in the business for a long time. How did you go from editorial into the writing side?
Well, I was at DC as an editor for 15 years, and then it was just one of those things where I had sold a screenplay, and I'd been writing, as you said, for quite a while. I'd done a few things like Light Brigade. I had done some showcases, some Outsiders issues, Steel, and a few things like that. So I always had my hand in it, and DC was always great at allowing me to do that, because they weren't keen on kind of having a nepotism aspect of it. So they really felt that I, you know, at least was pouring my heart into the stuff, and they allowed me to write every once in a while. And then one day I was just talking with Dan, you know, DiDio, and we're just BSing in the office, and all of a sudden, you know, we're talking, and I'm like, you know, I want to do that. I want to maybe do this Black Adam thing, because he had already approached me about it. And I said, so I'm looking forward to that. But, you know, Dan, what's the next thing that I can do? And he goes, I don't know, what about writing full time? And I'm like, yeah, okay, anyway, so how do I get, no, what about writing full time? So next thing I know, a 3-year contract, and it was an offer I couldn't refuse. So I'm in my PJs writing home.
It must be very gratifying.
It is, actually. It is. It's one thing's great is where I love just telling stories, and two, I get to I'm really like, you know, key years with my son now at home and getting to watch him grow up. So it's been a real, you know, real great thing, the freelance aspect of it. So digging it.
I'm here in the DC Vertigo booth with Andy Diggle. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Good.
You've come a long way to get to the show today.
Yeah, just got off the plane from London last night, but the jet lag hasn't really set in yet.
Give it time. Give it time. I guess I wanted to talk to you most probably about your Hellblazer work recently. It's been a really great run. You know, after a bunch of other great runs. Was it fun for you? Was it a character you've always wanted to write, or?
Absolutely. I mean, when me and my friend Jock, the artist, when we first wanted to approach Vertigo for work like 6 years ago, our plan was to actually put together a Hellblazer sample. We were going to do I was going to write, and he was going to draw a 6-page Hellblazer story to send to Will Dennis, who was then the editor. It turns out that Will actually offered us, you know, some other work in the meantime anyway, so it didn't happen. But yeah, we've been wanting to do Hellblazer the whole time. And now I'm writing Hellblazer, Jock's drawing it, but we're not actually working together on it. He's doing this graphic novel with Jamie Delano, who was the first writer, so it's actually worked out really great.
I would have loved to see the two of you work on that book. I'm a little upset right now, actually.
Well, maybe one day we will, you know. We're not going anywhere.
Is it tough to take a character who's got that much background? I mean, I noticed that you used some of the stuff that happened in the past, but the stuff you did was largely new reader friendly, I guess you could pick it up. I mean, how into the legacy of the whole thing were you?
Yeah, it's kind of a balancing act, because on the one hand, it is a character who's got a real history. I hate the word continuity, you know, because it can be it can mean overcomplicated series of events rather than actual story stuff, you know. But I think with Hellblazer, there is a history to the character, and you have to respect that. At the same time, you know, the old adage of every issue somebody's first one, you know, you have to bear that in mind too. So, yeah, I was trying to get the balance right between making it accessible, but also kind of, you know, acknowledging what's gone before, you know, and also playing off some of the old stuff as well. I think when my run wraps up, you'll see sort of some threads tying back to where it all started, and I've been sowing little clues throughout my run as to how it ties into some old stuff, but nobody's picked up on yet. I'm hoping it will become clear at the end of the run.
How many issues is left to your run?
There'll be 3 more issues after Jason Aaron's 2-part story that we ran, and after that I'm done. I'm not sticking around as long as I wanted to, as long as I had originally planned to, I should say, largely because I think I'm so obsessive about Hellblazer, I just take way too long writing every issue. And that causes problems for Leo Manco, the artist, who's been doing amazing work. And it's not really fair on him for me to keep him waiting for scripts. So.
I think some of the first thing that people in the States at least got to know you for was The Losers. The Losers was a fantastic series. How would you describe it to people? Because it's a great sort of self-enclosed series that you can pick up, I guess.
Yeah, The Losers is kind of like an action movie on paper is probably the best way to describe it. Self-contained in 5 graphic novels. I guess the short version of pitching it would be, it's the A-Team with a body count. It's meant to be as fun as a big dumb action movie, but as smart as a sort of 70s style political thriller. I always described it as like it's a smart political thriller disguised as a big dumb action movie. How good the disguise is for other people to judge, not me. But yeah, no, it was huge fun to write, and it's the thing that really got me noticed, and Jock as well, you know, because I think people could tell how much fun we had working on that, and the fact that it's self-contained as a series of graphic novels, you know, we ended it exactly where we always planned to end it, which was great, you know, as a finite series. So let's hope they don't mess up the movie.
No, well, I mean, it seems tailor-made for a movie. Did you have that kind of in mind when you were doing it, or?
No, it wasn't consciously designed to be turned into a movie, but it was obviously. It kind of grew from my love of action movies, right. And it reads like a movie, and it was always intended to. But it wasn't like meant to be turned into a film. If I wanted to go write an action movie, I would go and write an action movie. You know what I mean? But you can get away with so much more at Vertigo. You can put stuff into your action movie that you could never get away with in Hollywood, because it would have to get kind of dumbed down and pre-chewed and accessible to the guys, you know, in every place. So yeah, it meant we could just do it on our own terms, which was great.
Well, when you're working with a guy like Jock specifically, like there are pages that I will turn in that book or in Green Arrow Year One where like you turn the page and you're actually taken aback by it. I mean, it must be amazing to get those pages for the first time.
It's always awesome. It's when you're working with artists, you never really know what you're going to get back, and sometimes it surprises you. Sometimes, in a good way, and sometimes in not such a good way. But I've worked so much with Jock now, and we can kind of predict each other's moves so well that when I'm writing the script, it looks like his artwork in my head already. But he still manages to surprise me on how cool it is when you actually get the pages in, But he just intrinsically knows how to kind of, which is the moment, the story moment on every page to sell and like bam and really hit you with it, So yeah, it's just a pleasure to work with. Plus, he's also the world's nicest human. It's been officially proven.
Now, do you officially call him Jock, or does he have a name that no one else knows that you get to call him?
Well, yeah, it's kind of an open secret. I mean, his real name is Mark Simpson. And but he's been nicknamed Jock since he was in school. Even his wife calls him Jock, and his kid. So yeah, when he was first fishing around for work in America, he was wondering whether he should just use his real name, because Jock means something different in the States. It doesn't mean the same thing in Britain.
What does it mean in Britain?
Somebody from Scotland. It's like slang for a Scots person.
Oh.
Because he's originally from Scotland, although you wouldn't know it now. But yeah, so he figured, like when he come over here to work, he should change it back. But I think he was the first guy he worked with over here was Mike Carey, who he referred to him as Jock in some interview or press release. At which point he just thought, I guess I'll stick with it,
So is there anything else coming up that we need to know about?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you. I've got a couple of things in the pipeline which haven't been announced yet. One for Vertigo and one for Marvel. But neither have been announced yet, so I can't really talk about it.
Right. You're almost useless to me at this point.
Yeah, that's right. There's no reason to talk to me at all.
And now a word from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
There's no way to hide it. If you drive drunk, we will find you. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement and cracking down like never before.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight? You've been drinking tonight.
Make no mistake, you will get caught and you will be arrested.
All
right, so I'm here with the creative team of Proof. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So Proof is one of those books that our iFan base yelled at us to start reading. And so Conor and I picked it up, and we were blown away. We thought it was awesome. So where did you guys come up with the concept for Proof?
Actually, a friend of mine came up with it accidentally and made a joke, and I just ran with it. So, yeah, he doesn't even know I'm doing a comic book about it. I emailed the idea to him, and when we met, actually the first time we met here a few years ago, he already had the sketchbook full of ideas for it. So we just ran from there.
Cool. So, so are you guys friends outside of Proof, or did you just meet at the convention? I mean, how did you guys working together?
He smells. He smells very
He's
good.
American.
Ooh, get some of the.
My wife's American. I'm just fucking around.
You're Canadian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
No.
So one of the things with Proof was what really drew me to it was the visual style, and just kind of it's got this very kind of sketchy kind of look to it that kind of, I think, depicts the story really well. Is that something that you wanted? Is that your typical art style? Or is that something that you're doing it specifically for the story?
Well, that's what I do it for myself. Like if I do lots of like corporate work and stuff for like magazines and shit. When I do that stuff, people are like, do this, do that, too clean, not clean enough. Yeah. So when I can just do this, I like it nice and visceral, and it's messy, and it fits the story, right?
Totally does. And I love Elvis is my favorite character with the hair and
everybody's with the love of Elvis.
Although I gotta admit, I don't like the makeover. I like the pompadour, you know.
Hair grows.
So a lot of the aspects of Proof are based on a lot of urban legends and urban myths. How much research goes into the story aspects of it, both from a story and visually?
A ton.
I have like a fat morgue file.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what those are, like just visual reference of like helicopters, airplanes, monsters, lizards, snakes, shit. Like, and Alex sends me tons of links.
Yeah.
We read like as much as we can. We try and make it like.
Because it seems very believable. Yeah.
The cryptoids especially take a lot of research. So my whole desk is piled with books on monsters and urban legends and all that stuff. So actually, it's a little creepy at night when I'm.
Well, it's the one thing, like when the fairies with the teeth and like there's a realistic edge to it that we've got this mythical kind of ideas of fairies, but you guys are making it scary, like kind of making it also believable.
What's weird is those fairies, the Cottingley fairies, people believed in those 100 years ago. That was a huge deal. People all over the world bought into that. So, the idea that there's something behind it, maybe. Right.
So does it get a little freaky when you're working on it, when you're up late at night drawing these kind of monsters and stuff like that? Because I used to watch In Search Of, and that show used to freak me out, right?
Unsolved mysteries.
Yep.
Alex is a little bit more. He's a little more squeamish.
Yeah.
I'm more impressionable.
Yes. I don't mind my gore and stuff. I'm all right with that kind of stuff.
The Mothman. I'm writing a Mothman story right now, and that if you know that story, that is creepy as hell. Yeah, it's really So just
cool. So in addition to Proof, if folks like Proof, they should check out Seven Sons, which is by AAT Planet Art, published by them. What can you tell me about Seven Sons?
It's the fable, the Chinese fable of the 7 Chinese brothers. Each of them has a different superpower, and they get into loads of trouble. So.
It gives it a context, a certain North American context or Western context.
Yeah, it's a Western.
Not making the Chinese brothers Western, but to bring it's imported into the California during the gold rush and stuff.
Oh, cool.
They're trying to escape a cultural revolution and. Yeah, we just contextualized it in America, and then took the fable, and that was it pretty much.
Cool. And how's the reaction been to that book? You guys happy with it? Or
really positive. It got us an image book, so
there you go.
I am here with Terry Moore, and I had to push Ron out of the way to get to this interview, but he's had you enough.
Yeah, well, so to speak.
The last time we talked to you, Echo hadn't quite come out, so we didn't really know what to ask you about. But now it has, and I know what it is, so we'll try that now.
Okay.
When you did Strange in Paradise, you always talked sort of about like you knew the characters. You spoke about them like they were real people. Do you feel like it with these characters yet?
Yeah, I'm so deep into Echo now that, but I am still in the discovery process. Like I'm really getting, even though I thought I had my main character Julie all figured out. Every issue, something new turns up, and I think, oh wow, yeah, that fits. So really and truly, it's just a process. You never you never get to think like I figured it all out ahead of time like a chess master. It really is just kind of like a road trip, and you just figure it out as you go. You know?
Well, that's actually sort of one of my questions. But before I get to it, how would you describe the book to somebody who just it's like a sci-fi story? I mean, what's your pitch for the book? I guess
the pitch is it's The Fugitive meets X-Files with a Terry Moore girl character.
Right.
So that's it. It's me doing X-Files is what it is.
Okay. Now you had sort of a big timeline with Strangers in Paradise. Like how? And I mean, are you as tightly regimented in this one? You know where it's going?
No, of course not.
Just
you know what I'm doing?
Wild and fancy free.
I have I think of it like a TV series, and I have the first season figured out. And the first season's about 18 issues. I think of each issue as like an episode.
That's no small amount of planning, though.
Well, yeah, it's just my one big movie, you know. I mean, I've got that much figured out. But do I have, 50 issues figured out? No.
Do you plan on going that far? I mean,
I'm going to go the first season, and if we get good ratings, then I'll do another season.
Okay. Have you been happy with the book so far? Are you getting a good response?
Oh yeah, the response has been very good, and it's outselling SIP like crazy. So I think because it's easier to understand, it's more approachable. Mm-hmm. It's impossible to describe SIP. I don't know. People say, "What's it about?" I don't know what to say.
So I actually know the feeling.
Yeah.
With me, it felt like the fourth issue was when it kind of clicked, where all the little things dropped into place. Where I was like, this is all connected and things like that. I mean, are you metering sort of the information specifically?
Yeah, for me, it all starts falling into place in issue 5, which I just finished. You just have to. The more you read, I'm hoping it's going to be like a good mystery book or a good sci-fi mystery where each chapter brings a new twist. Like a little cliffhanger or something, so that the deeper you get, the more it sucks you in. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying for that. It's a really complicated story, and I feel like I've barely touched the surface.
Well, you've got lots of time to figure it out.
Yeah, I have 18 issues.
So you've had some time away from Francine and David and Kachu now. Are stories popping up for them still that you have to beat back down, or?
Yeah, this is really, really weird because I feel like I was in this great band for about 15 years, and we broke up. And I'm still getting ideas for songs for the band. We could still do it. We could get back together and play.
There's no reason you can't do that.
We could play on the rooftop tomorrow, and it would still be the band. But it's really weird to see pictures of them or the old books now, and I feel very connected. But I don't do that anymore, and it's just.
Do you have a moratorium on it? Like, I won't do a story of this for a while, or do you think you might go back sometime and just fill in some spaces?
Well, I just had so many other things I wanted to do that I've got to. This is my shot to do Echo. I still want to do something like Motor Girl, the girl with the motorcycle mechanic.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to change the name, but I'm still going to do something there.
Right.
But I think, let me do a couple of projects and then see how I feel.
And lest I ignore it, your long-awaited Marvel projects will be coming out sooner now than later. Do you remember writing those at all? Or
I'm on issue 5 of both books, Spider-Man Loves Mary Jane and Runaways. And they start next month, and they launch a week apart. And I'm only about 5 issues ahead. So I'm deep into those worlds right now. I'm in 3 worlds, Echo, Runaways world, and Mary Jane's world.
What kind of stuff are you going to be focusing on in the Runaways?
The Runaways are back in L.A., and they're having to deal with serious consequences of something that happened in Brian Vaughn's story. He did something really naughty in his story, so my team has to pay for it now. So that's where I'm writing about.
Is it intimidating? I mean, following Joss Whedon and Brian Vaughn on like a legendary book. I mean, you're no small, stature yourself, but Joss Whedon and Brian Vaughn, that's...
Joss who?
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
I don't know. I think if, when I'm alone at night, yeah, it's scary. I crawl up into a little ball and cry like a little girl. But at a con, I would have to say, if you can't handle that, you shouldn't get the job.
Nice.
So I'm here with Ed Brubaker, or Eisner Award-winning Ed Brubaker.
That's how I like to be referred to from now on at all times. Eisner, Harvey, Schuster, Inkpot, and GLAAD award-winning.
You won the GLAAD award?
I won the GLAAD award for Holly and Karen and Catwoman.
Oh, that's awesome! Congratulations.
Well, I guess Cameron and Darwin are also the GLAAD award winners too, but I have the award.
So you know, of course, we talked to you before about Captain America and the great stuff you're doing on that book. How does it feel to have the industry kind of acknowledge that the work that you've been doing over the past couple of years? Because you've really been throwing everything into those books.
Well, it's always great to be acknowledged for that stuff. I mean, for me, it's always it's about doing good work. I mean, it's great to get awards and stuff like that, but the next day you still got a deadline. So, I mean, that's awesome. I voted for Brian Vaughn, so I was a little shocked. I thought for sure Why the Last Man ended. Like, he's got to win this year, and I voted for him. It was I think the best ending of a major series in a long time, maybe ever. So that was kind of shocking. But yeah, it's really nice. I mean, it beats the opposite. Right. But also, remember, the first time I was nominated for an Eisner Award was either 1991 or 1992, and I was nominated every now and then. I must have had at least 20 nominations for a variety of things before I ever won anything. So I was like the Susan Lucci of comics for a long time. So it feels good to actually win. Yeah. It feels better than being nominated and losing, but just even being nominated, just having this stuff be read by people is just so amazing. It so beats having a job.
That's for sure. So we're getting into Act 3 of the Captain America kind of saga that you've been telling. The kind of hubbub about his death has kind of died down, and now we're really getting into it. Where are you in terms of with the story, where you want to take it as we kind of get, which I assume is the finale, but I mean...
Well, the finale that's coming up is the finale of the Red Skull storyline. It's not the finale of Captain America, and Bucky as Captain America continues on past that, and I'm working on the stories after that. I've got the book planned out to, I think, issue 65 or 70 at this point, so yeah.
Well, one of our favorite moments of the year has been the combination of middle management, Red Skull with the white shirt when he's at the desk and he's angry when he's yelling at, and then the three Zola and Faustus and Red Skull arguing.
Oh yeah.
That was the best moment of the year so far.
Well, you can't get three masterminds together and have them get along for that long, So yeah, that's something I've been seeding all along, is that they all kind of secretly don't like each other that much, but Zola's really subservient because he's an ex-Nazi. Right. So you'll see that come to a head in the next few issues in a really twisted way, actually. Yeah. So it's all been planned from the start.
Excellent. So at iFanboy, I'm the resident X-Men fan, okay. And so I've been enjoying what you've been doing. I'm the one, yeah, I'm the one. So issue 500 just came out. I made it my pick of the week, and what I want to talk to you because the move to San Francisco and the kind of venue change and the new status quo. What are you in Fraction? What was your kind of thoughts leading into that?
Honestly, we were trying to think of something to do after Messiah Complex that would be like, what would they do after the mansion's been destroyed for the millionth time? And I thought, why do they rebuild the mansion? I said this to Axel, knowing Axel had grown up in San Francisco and had lived in neighborhoods I'd lived in and stuff. And I said, why don't they just move to San Francisco? Because the X-Men are the biggest freaks in the world. Yeah. They're not superheroes, they're just born this way. They don't have to be superheroes, they're just freaks. Why not go somewhere where your freak flag can fly and people will love you for it? Yeah. I always thought, why don't they live in San Francisco? Why did Daredevil move to San Francisco, not the X-Men? Yeah. If I had wings, I would live in the Castro probably, And I just thought, having lived there for a long time and feel like it's one of my hometowns, how cool would it be to move the X-Men to San Francisco? And I knew Axel wouldn't, and everybody loved it immediately, and then it became a huge thing. So I love the idea that they're taking on the future. They're taking the future. They're not waiting, and they're not trying to be nice. It's not Xavier's plan anymore. It's Cyclops' plan, and we're taking it on. San Francisco is the mutant haven.
That's awesome. And it's really fun because I thought issue 500 with the costumes and the new base had a very feel. It felt a lot like Whedon's Astonishing #1, where it's kind of a refocus. But what?
I wish we had 10 more pages. I feel like we needed 10 more pages to just really expand it with all the fighting and everything, but I'm really proud of that issue. I think those guys did a great job.
The one thing I found interesting though is I love the SF MoMA was present in it, and it really feels like San Francisco, and the Marvel Universe has always been in the real world, but it's a different mayor. Did you have worry about using Gavin Newsom, or why did you make that decision?
The
Or is it a
mayor,
character?
the mayor's a character in the book, and the mayor had already been seated in the champions, or not the champions, but the order. Yeah, and the fraction had already had the mayor of San Francisco like request the order to move there, and they said no. So that's why it was like, well, let's be Marvel continuity.
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. And plus, it might have been a little bit hard to use Gavin Newsom.
Yeah.
It's
not like he's controversial.
He probably would have been cool with it, but yeah, exactly.
And that's another San Diego in the books. It's been a crazy one.
We survived it. I don't know how. It was huge.
I feel great. Little voice loss, not as bad as last year, but I paced. You know, a lot of hand sanitizer.
Any con without a plague ending is a great one.
It's a good con, that's for sure. Yeah.
Well,
you all right, Josh? So,
stay over there.
So be sure to head over to iFanboy.com to talk about the San Diego Comic-Con and revision3.com/iFanboy to watch last week's episode, part 1, as well as all the mini episodes we did from San Diego. We filmed a lot here, so go check it all out.
And if you have any questions, you can write to contact@ifanboy.com. You can send us a voicemail at 888-FANBOYS, which is 326-2697. God, is that it?
I think so. This was huge. I mean, again, we always talk about how much bigger it was, but I had a lot of fun this year.
It was not too bad. I'm now going to not go home.
Yeah, you're not. You're stuck here.
I'm stuck here. Apparently, San Diego won't let me leave.
Yeah, they want to keep you.
You will have been home, though.
Let's not assume anything.
Paradox.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So maybe we will never have heard from you again. Sorry.
Ooh, it's a creepy costume.
All right, it's time for the much anticipated close of the show. We're here at the Man of Action booth with the man who's traditionally closed at our San Diego show. We're here with Joe Casey, who is very excited to speak with us. And hey, Joe.
Where the fuck have you been?
Well,
you say we're gonna do an interview at like 1 o'clock. I'm here. It's the last day. I want to get the fuck out of here. Why you gotta?
I'm gonna fight through this. So,
No. You're fucking late. Why don't you admit it? What kind of show are you running here? What the fuck is going on here?
You know what? This is my job. This is a professional kind of thing.
This is your job?
I've got people watching.
You get paid to do this?
Not a lot, but sure.
Oh man.
Do we want to do this? I'm here to help you.
What's your question? What's your question? Let's hear it. What do you got?
You threw me off. I don't know.
Come on, man. Give me a question.
How has your convention been?
It was great. I was stoned the whole time. That helps.
Children all over there. I mean, is this what you want?
Oh, look. What are you trying to get me in trouble? Are you trying to get me in trouble?
You're the one saying that.
Are you trying to get me in trouble? All right, look. Let's try this. Why don't you guys get the pack up and get the fuck out of here? All right, just pack up and get the fuck out, and then I can get the fuck out.
Okay, I was going to talk about Nixon's pals because it's not like anyone else is.
No, there we go. Here we go. There's Nixon's pals. There's Godland. There's Charlatan Ball. There's a whole slew of crap coming. All right, done.
Have you ever pitched anything to Image where they were like, no, we're not going to do that?
No, they wouldn't dare.
We're going to help out working.
All right, folks, that was a really great moment with Josh, and we're going to wrap this up now because it's Sunday, and my buzz is worn off, so I got to get the fuck out of here, all right? So take your microphone.
You were going to say something about the Cube, but it's better now, isn't it?
No, I love the Cube.
You love the Cube. I got your number, Casey.